It seems to be a legend of group acceptance that the idea and the evidence for the idea that Lenin pulled a Houdini, that his death was a con job by the media behind the AIDS attack, is too far out to be considered real. So we're stuck with the explanation given by the people who Yoko Ono teamed up with, who she claims killed him. Because I guess her point of view was they killed him, but it's interesting, so therefore it's her money. When I was hostage as a child, Raymond Mark Mancine told me that there was a story in Dune about what he called a mentat who was fed false information while in the custody of the enemy. He came to believe things that weren't true. In a science fiction novel, you can imagine people capable of bombing Gaza, like Carnegie Mellon University's George Bush stalwarts, getting fed information that Lenin had been killed by an anti-Reagan hippie through negligence and sexual intercourse with girls on the sly, and them going into hyper vigilante mode to tear up all um, premises that oppose the idea that Reagan and Lenin were partners and heroes. So we see the basic sketch of what Pitt pulled. Yoko Ono came to the Pitt News in stealth and began surrounding me with people who had her name encrypted in theirs, people from the arts in New York. Meanwhile, her sly dog hair attorney, Amanda Harcourt, pretended to be with Fripp and Peter Gabriel, who I believed I had made honest men out of. They were talking to me for once. And she sent me cues about the season of Truculent Machines, which I was too sincere and occupied to see were sly allusions to Yoko Ono's narco trafficking, human slavery mission of espionage at the University of Pittsburgh, where she mobilized the people I had reported for torture to Amnesty International by telling them I was snitching them in the local bars. She sent out her agents to hire attack prostitutes to show them what was what, with the help of Martin Scorsese, who was making Goodfellas at the time. They locked me in a house from the inside with a man who kidnapped and tortured me as a child, so that they could say that it was a relationship. Now, what they did that is so much less far out than Hollywood pranking everybody with the story of Lennon's disappearance so that they could pull off this Houdini macabre where the people who attacked us are actually the victims, in their view. You know, they had attorneys who took me to D.C. to watch the program. When Reagan claims he was shot, he came out and waved to me the night before. They have a brochure that says there's no such thing as objective reality, only what the jury believes, and they're Israelis. And they used to have slogans like, no one is innocent, and we have the technology, and so on like that, which they would drop whenever the formula allowed them in high school chatter and so on. Because I had known them a long time. They were around Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. I met him as a baby. He was hiring people who were burning girls' arms, gagging us, named Marcus, who were Zionist creeps. and spreading rumors about me because I had dated a girl for 2 years and left her untarnished. She was still a virgin. There was nothing wrong. And they spread rumors about me because of that. So Robert Fripp rumors. He really got going. So what they did was Brian Richmond knew the girl who was with Lisa Cassidy when I arrived on Mount Desert Island. I got a call. She came to Pittsburgh to visit Brian Richmond. And he set me up with Lisa Miles, evidently, with the help of Yoko Ono, Midori Goto, and Zubin Mehta, the man who stood for Dorfing Ho to oppose Netanyahu about uh, the Palestinian children who are rumored to be Amalek, like Jimmy Queerball, but not like Jimmy Queerball, because they are the ones who point the finger and so on. And she was moping with Lisa Cassidy, who had the tattoo of the Grim Reaper and the needle tracks pointing her vagina. And they were hanging out with Will Zell, who was an upperclassman at Tyler Art School with Michael McGarvey, who was in the Gutter Snipes, whose gang included Widenmaker, who's named in the Burston letters. So that's just a hop, skip, and a jump when you pour on milk, right? Well, the sly dog Amanda Harcourt said that this neo-Nazi from the Jackson Immunogenetic Laboratory Society for Human Ecology, who extolled Joseph Goebbels, was talking about a scheme to transform the human race by injecting the blood before AIDS happened, was now a leader of the Jewish Defense League because the rumors from Robert Fripp read about me and the girl who left me unrequited. The Nazi Goebbels is bought out as a gun for hire for Nosferatu, whose legendary program of turning the Palestinian children on the queer bait who could have saved John Lennon. And that's not far out. It's not far out that Diana Buto is a sandbagger covering for Nosferatu in the matter, or George Galloway is, or Owen Jones refuses to address it, or Abby Martin refuses to address it. And doltish retardo modalities arrive from Paul McCartney. I'm looking over a four-leaf clover. That's not too far out. Only Lennon Sudini is too far out.